Hello! This short video will show you how to work with the Seattle Terry stop data that will be used for your quiz. Alright, let's go ahead and show you how to get started. So the first thing I need to do is go to the data set, and the link for that is provided at Stats class. So let's go ahead and do that. This is the Seattle Terry stop data here. It has, as we can see, about 50,000 rows and 23 different columns. To get a copy of this data, what I want to do up here in the upper right hand corner is select Export. And then I want to select CSV. And what that'll do is put a CSV copy of that file down onto your computer. Once that has been downloaded, then what I want to do is open that file inside of the JMP package. So I'm going to select File, Open, and then I want to go and select, down here in the corner, I might have to select all files so that the CSV files show up. And then the other thing that you want to make sure and do is deselect Use Default Program to Open. If this is selected, it's actually going to open your Terry stop data in Excel. We don't want that. We want to open it up in Jump. So I don't want that box selected right there where my cursor is at. Select the file that you want to open, which is the Terry stops. Make sure that's deselected and say Open. This will open the file inside of Jump here. I have, as we can see, 23 different columns, and then down below here I have 50,000 rows. What I want to do right away is this column here is subject perceived gender. What I want to do is only select the males and females from this list. I have some dashes here, I have some unable to determines, I think I got some unknowns, things like that. I just want the males and the females here. My goal here is going to be to compare that against the male and female gender of the officer. So to do that, what I'm going to do is select Analyze Distribution. I'm going to do a distribution of subject perceived gender. And here what I do is I can get a count and percentages for the different genders. We can see that certainly we have a lot more males in this data set, about 78%, females about 20%. There's only about 2% that are either unknown, unable to determine, a dash, or whatever here. So I want to just select the two columns here. So I'm holding the control button down by selecting both of those. And what that's going to do here in the background is select only the rows where I have the subject perceived gender being male or female. So I want to take these rows and pull them out into their own data table. To do that, I'm going to select Tables, Subset. I want to make sure Selected Rows here is specified, and I want all columns. And what that'll do is pull off these into their own, oops, sorry about that. That'll pull that off into their own data table. Okay. Now, I'm going to need to do a match statement to see if the officer's gender matches the subject's gender. But we can see that the officers are either M's or F's for male, female, okay? But the perceived gender for the subject is written out as male or female. So what I want to do is recode these males and females to M's and F's so that I can actually check to see if it matches the officer's gender. To do that, I'm going to select this column. Underneath columns, I'm going to select Recode. Here, I get to recode that column. I can either put the recoding into a new column, or I'm going to go ahead and do it in place. So this is going to, what this is going to do, if I specify an F here and an M in this box, it is going to take all the females and recode that as an F, and it's going to take all the males and recode that as an M. And it's going to do that right in this same column, or what we call in place here. If I were to say create a new column, then it would actually save the original and create a copy that would have the M's and F's in it. But I'm going to go ahead and just do in place here. To get this done, I can select Recode here. And that'll change all them males to M's and all the females to F's. So now I have a way to check to see if the officer's gender matches the subject's perceived gender. I'm going to create a new column here. So let me go ahead and select select columns, new column, and then I'm going to give this a name. So does gender match is what the name is that I'm going to give this. So now I have a column where I can do the matching. I'm going to do a simple if statement. So we haven't done one of these. Formula. I'm going to select conditional and then if. And what I need to do here is see if the officer's gender matches the subject's perceived gender. If it does, then I want to label that as yes. So I'm going to say if officer gender equal subject perceived gender. So that's going to check those two columns against one another. If they are the same, then I want to say yes, they match. And that has to be a string, so that has to be in quotes there. Otherwise, if that's not the case, then I want to specify that they do not match. So again, with the quotes. So that's what my if statement should look like. It's going to go through and check all 49,000 rows or whatever I have here. It's going to check this M against this one. So that first row should have a no in it. Okay, and when we get down here, here's one where it should be, the first row should have a yes because they do match. This row right here should have a no because the officer's gender was male, but the subject's gender was female. So that right there should be a no. So let's go ahead and apply this and then just check this. And we can see that it looks like it's working. I have yes, 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 they do match. And then when I have M versus F here, that's a no match. Here's another no match. So that looks like it worked. Let's go ahead and say okay and get out. And now I have a new column in my data frame or in my data set called does gender match. The other thing that I'm going to have you do is do some stuff with the year. So let's go ahead and pull off the year from the date. So I'm going to go ahead and say insert another column. I'm going to call this the year variable. I want to do another formula here. And what I want to do is select the date time functions. And then on the very bottom of this list is a function called year. It looks like it's dropped out of your view, but on the very bottom, there's a function called year under date time. And what this is going to do is pull off the year from the reported date there. So again, I'm selecting the reported date as the date that I have in my data set, and I just want the year off of that. So go ahead and hit apply here and OK. And again, that's pulling off the 2015 here on these first few. If I go down a ways, then it's going to pull off the 2017 from here. All right, that looks good. Now what I want to do for the analysis part is go ahead and do like some gender match stuff against, I think it's the frisk flag. So whether or not they were patted down. So to do that, I'm going to do analyze, fit y by x. We are going to do, does the gender match? That's my grouping variable there, my x variable. And then I wanted to do that across whether or not they were patted down or frisked. Okay, so this is whether or not they were patted down, yes, no. And this is the table that I'm going to get. Down below that table you have, the graph. Down below that you have the table and then all the tests. Again, what we want to be looking at here are the row percentages. That's how those are displayed. That's what's being displayed there in that graph is the row percentages. You can add those row percentages by go cell labeling and then by percent, and you can see what those are. And then again, this is kind of what I want you to do for your quiz is make some comparisons here on the rate of them being either frisked or arrested, so that we might have the y-axis be arrested here on some of the questions. To do a local data filter, what I'm going to want to do here for the year, so I want you to do a local data filter on the year. I actually want that to be treated as a categorical variable, not as a number variable. So let me minimize this here a minute, or get this out of the way. Go back to my data frame, my data set here, and when I do my year, I actually want to set that to a character. So do a right click and say character here. And again, what that does is it'll allow my year to be kind of different categories or different buckets, different groups. So let's go ahead and apply that. What's going to happen here over on the edge is my year is going to be now become a red bar graph there. And that'll tell me that I'm actually using year as a grouping variable. Now when I go back and do my local data filter, let's go ahead and apply that once. Local data filter on year. Go ahead and say yes. And now I can get this information year by year. So if I just wanted this graph for 2021, then I would just select 2021 here. Or if I want this graph for 2020, as you can see, we can move the different years here. Okay, I think that does it then for helping you through the data preparation for the Seattle Terry Stop data. Good luck with the quiz and have a good day. Thank you.